What's going on, people? What's really good? It's your boy Marv, and this is the Nerds in the Hood. Folks, good to see y'all again. But let's get right into it, because it's another edition of the Movie Pass Movement. I don't know why my hands did that, but you get where I'm going with this. As usual, courtesy of me getting my AMC Stubs Rewards Pass, I can check out 4 movies a week for $25 a month. So for the price of one movie ticket, I'm seeing like 16 movies a month, basically, more or less. But either way, it is awesome. So I make sure that I use the opportunity to see some of the latest and greatest movies, and just some movies that I have my eye on, even if nobody else has their eyes on it. But one such film in particular that I was looking to see was the new Karate Kid movie, Karate Kid Legends. Now, I know this movie's been out for a little bit, so I'm a little late to the party, but better late than never. So I just wanted to get a quick vibe check on what this movie's looking like, what's going on. I wanted to see what was making it good or bad, or whatever the case may be. Now, let's just go ahead and get the stuff out of the way I'm not feeling. What was the ick for me? So as you already know, this movie is now technically the 6th, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, technically this is the 6th installment of a Karate Kid film. But now, thanks to whatever the writers chose here, or whatever they came to terms with, or what we see with this finished product, this all counts now as one universe. So we have the first Karate Kid series, which was the trilogy about a young man named Daniel LaRusso. Then we have the spin-off series, which was about a young lady named Julie Pierce. And then years later, we had another series, which was about a young man named Dre Parker. So all 3 young kids, right? Only 2 of them were trained by Mr. Miyagi. 1 of them was trained by Mr. Han. Now you get a movie where, even though Mr. Miyagi is no longer with us, the real life actor and the character, now you're getting a movie where Mr. Han trains a young man who's actually his nephew, and you're getting Daniel LaRusso stepping in for Mr. Miyagi in this case, taking as a successor, so to speak. But what I didn't like about this film was just that if you're and this is not a big gripe, but this is just what it is. Spoilers are ahead. If you're a Cobra Kai fan, this essentially has nothing to do with Cobra Kai. It doesn't tell you anything from what happened in the TV show. It doesn't make you even think about the TV show, except for the fact that there is a brief, very brief, very, 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 very brief cameo appearance by the sensei of Cobra Kai, Mr. Jonathan Lawrence. That is it. Johnny Lawrence makes a very brief appearance, and it is a small callback to the very end of Cobra Kai. That's really it. It's a small callback to when Johnny and Daniel were sitting in the restaurant, and they were just going over like business ideas of like a business venture that they could like join forces on. That was really it. It was just like Daniel LaRusso got a gift of pizza, and that was it. Now it opens the door for a possibility that Johnny Lawrence could be in the next movie, but it doesn't really do much else, you know? The movie also suffered from a lot of different things. So let's talk about it real quick. Real quick. So the movie was basically a tie-in to bring all the universes together, with the exception of the next Karate Kid, because Lord knows what they want to do with Julie Pierce in her life. But I'm not mad at it. It's not like it was an amazing movie. I'm just saying, like, sometimes when you try to think about canon, you try to involve all elements of what you can, but it is what it is. But yeah, again, this was about Mr. Han. Now we're 15 years into the future of where the first movie took place, and he's in China. He's a very renowned, famous sensei. People come to his school. They're doing their thing in the school. They're making it work, right? And He's good. Life is good. He's training his nephew. He trained both of his nephews. One of his nephews unfortunately passed away due to cats just being too pissed that they got packed up by his nephew. But he still had one other nephew named Li Feng, right? Was it Li Feng or Li Fong? Li Fong, excuse me. I was thinking of Li Feng, like Wolf Fang Fist. Anyway, Li Fong. But Li Fong's mom is not with it at all. She don't want to lose another son to the game. So she takes him to New York with her. So it's a reverse in what the Karate Kid always did. As you think about it, Mr. Han's first story was about Dre coming from the United States to China. Now you have a kid leaving China to the United States. And while he's out there, he does a lot of different things. He falls in love. He becomes a sensei himself. He fights numerous different people while still trying to be the best that he can be and get over his fears of what happened to him. Because we all remember in his fear in the movie was that his brother basically lost his life because he was too scared to defend his brother when he easily could have defended his brother. He saw a knife, froze, brother was gone. It's just like that. So it was a lot of different things about overcoming fears, never giving up, the usual Karate Kid mantra. I just didn't like the fact that, again, if you're a Cobra Kai fan, it has nothing to do with the story. So it's a small ick outside of also the fact that the story at times kind of, you got a little lost because 1 minute you're seeing a story about, this guy trying to function to New York life, and it was going, he came to New York, and it was going the route of the Karate Kid. He had a bully. The bully wasn't feeling the fact that he was with his ex, all this other stuff. And then it turns into like, oh, I got to help my girl's father and raise enough money to keep his pizza shop and pay off loan sharks. It was like, how did we get here? How did we get here? So that part really kind of threw me for a loop. However, the vibes are still there. I still was rocking with the movie because it was still fun. The action was okay. There was moments that were funny. One of my favorite characters was Alan, a dude that was teaching Li Fong just basic schoolwork in terms of college prep and stuff like that because he's a high school student, as is every other Karate Kid. So, he falls in love with a girl named Mia, whose dad named Victor, who was played by Joshua Jackson, which, hey, man, shout out to him, man. Get the bag how you get the bag, like I always say. He played an old boxer who now was being trained by Li Fong in the art of the Kung Fu. Anyway, so, which brings me to my next point. One of the reasons I actually did like this film, I'm not even going to hold y'all. The antagonist, right? I was on the fence because, for one, the kid that Li Fong ends up like rivaling was named Connor Day, right? This kid was a beast. He could throw the fade. He took his crash out energy, which he had a lot of, and was throwing the fades light. Nobody was safe. My man was in tournaments KOing people easy. Because they have a tournament just like in a Karate Kid, but this one is called the 5 Boroughs. So they go around the 5 boroughs and just fight in different rings, and until they get to the final one, which I believe was in Manhattan. So when I looked at this guy, there was a moment where he fought Li Fong in the finals, which you knew was going to happen. But he fought Li Fong in the finals. And this kid was so strong. My man had to develop and make a trap strategy in order to lure him into a trap so that way he could beat him. That was the only way. It's the typical Karate Kid way. We remember there was the little dragon kick joint that Daniel developed in the first one. There was the snake kick joint that Dre developed in the reboot. And then there was this dragon kick thing that he kind of did too. No, it was a crane kick. I'm sorry. Crane kick in the LaRusso one. And then in this one, it was a dragon kick. So it was just like, yo, every villain has to get some type of move that's going to stop him in his tracks from getting his work. And that's what happened. This kid, Connor Day, did a move where my son lifted, he literally lifted him up in midair and kicked the dog crap into his chest. Just I was like, yo, walla, right? You don't believe me? go see the movie. In the beginning of the film, not in the very beginning, but like midway past the beginning, the first fight Connor and Lee Fong have, right, wasn't the sucker punch. They was at school. They coincidentally go to the same school, just like every other one. So they go to the same school, and your man was like, what's up? You want to run the fade? And Lee Fong was like, you know what? Tired of this, man. Let's run the fade. He's like, I bet. Let's run it. He was like, matter of fact, how I know I could pack you up? I ain't even going to use my hands, homie. My man put his hands in his pocket, straight Sanji style, and just said, I'm going to fight you with my feet. That's it. And he proceeded to pack this man up with only using kicks. He never punched him. He never even defended with his hands. He just kept his hands in his pockets and just was weaving like this, weaving. And then he tried to do the dragon kick the first time, and my man Connor just super kicked him, Shawn Michaels style. I said, damn. And I laughed so hard every time Lee Fong was getting packed up. Because, yeah, okay, we knew he was going to win in the end. But, dude, this kid, when you look at all the final karate battles that every Karate Kid had, right? Johnny Lawrence was dope. Mike Bennett was dope. All the Cobra Kai people was dope. Yeah, they was cool. Who was the one that Dre fought? What was the kid that Dre fought? Let me see. The one that Dre fought was Chang. Chang was also really dope. I thought Chang was a beast. But this kid, Connor Day, might have all of them. He might have all of them. I think he could pack anybody up in this Karate Kid universe. Maybe except that one Brazilian kid, the one that was in Team Brazil at the end of Cobra Kai, and maybe Miguel and Robbie might be able to defeat him. Maybe. But this kid was a beast. And of course, you got Jackie Chan. You can't really go wrong with Jackie Chan films because Jackie Chan always puts in the work every single time he's fighting. Like, yeah, not every Jackie Chan movie was fire. You know, there are some that are like, okay, we can tell you was in this for the bag, like Around the World in 80 Days or Shanghai Nights or Shanghai Noon. But there are other Jackie Chan movies where you're like, okay, you out here. I see you, OG. And this was one of those films because he still got it. My man is, I don't even know how old is Jackie Chan. I don't even know how old this man is. 71 years old. My man be moving like he 50 or maybe even younger than that. Shoot, he can still pack somebody up right now at 71. So I got to give him props because my man is a living legend. I was at a Brooklyn Nets game and he was there like in the front row promoting. Well, he wasn't promoting the movie. He was just there to catch a basketball game. And thankfully the Liberty won that game too. So we ain't embarrassed the OG. But all in all, it's fun to watch this movie because Karate Kid is always a fun vibe. Could it have been better? Always. There's always room for improvement. But if you're a Cobra Kai fan and you go into this thinking that there's some element or some mention of Cobra Kai, I'm sorry to disappoint you. This is not one of those films. Even Daniel LaRusso himself doesn't even have a strong impact in this film because we also got to remember this one important fact. This film has nothing to do with Daniel LaRusso because this is technically not his student until the end, right? This is him helping on behalf of Mr. Miyagi. In the beginning of the film, they make a callback to the Karate Kid 2 when Mr. Miyagi's telling, like, you know, a little story, which they kind of, I think either they AI'd it or something, but they tell a story about how Mr. Han's ancestors and Miyagi's ancestors were always homies and they was always looking out for each other and just doing the best that they can to help each other out all the time, sharing secrets, sharing moves, everything. So because of that, that's how the movie ties in, whereas like Han was always cool with Mr. Miyagi way back in the day, which also made me laugh because if you was that cool with him, he even said, yo, I pulled up to Mr. Miyagi's crib way back. Why Daniel never seen you, fam? It's not like Daniel was a little kid where his memory kind of like just fades out when he's like 25 and he's like, I don't really remember you when I was 5. No, Daniel LaRusso was a teenager. He would have had some memory of this man. And he ain't never once seen him. Come on. But be that as it may, it is what it is. They told the story they wanted to tell. So this is a sequel to the Karate Kid reboot. that is used to help tie in the fact that it is all now one shared universe, as opposed to it just being like, okay, this is the Karate Kid over here and this is the Karate Kid over there. So this is a Mr. Han sequel, but I would have loved to see Dre Parker. Maybe Jaden Smith will come in another movie. Maybe him and his mom, who's played by Taraji P. Henson, maybe they'll come in another movie. But it probably would have been a little cool. Like, Mr. Han went to Mr. Miyagi to get more help to train Li Fong. And it was like, cool, but what happened to your other student? There's a moment where we've all seen this in the commercials by now, where Mr. Han says to Daniel, Li Fong is to me what you were to Mr. Miyagi. And as we all know, throughout the Karate Kid trilogy, before the next Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi only had one student. It was Daniel, or at least one that we knew of. But his prize student, his prize pupil, was Daniel. So you're saying that Li Fong, your nephew, is now your number one student. But what happened to your first student? You see what I'm saying? What happened to the student that we all saw? The ones that we said, this reboot's not that bad. Where's Dre Parker? That's what I want to know. If they make a sequel, what happened to Dre Parker? Is he a villain? Did he not see the light and go to the darkness? What happened? Will Li Fong fight a Dre Parker who might be stronger? Yeah, I know y'all laughing like, man, Jaden Smith ain't up. No, but we don't know. But now Jaden Smith is a full adult. So what happened in those 15 years for Dre Parker and you to not be the same as Daniel and Mr. Miyagi? That is my biggest question going into this. And that is a question maybe I hope gets answered in the sequel, if there is one. Or if they do a TV show. I don't know. But I would just love for those questions to be answered. And then when you make a sequel, maybe we could see inklings of Cobra Kai students or Miyagi-Do students along the way. Just left so much to be desired. And hey, maybe Cheng even might pull up. He might be stronger too. But unsolved mysteries for now. Anyway, but when it comes to Karate Kid Legends, the vibes on here is that it's alright. I'm not going to say it's valid. It's alright. It was cool for what it was. It was a fun family film, but it just still left a lot to be desired. Still left me with a lot of questions because they made this a random crossover that they didn't really need to make. They could have just made it a sequel and we still would have been okay with no Daniel, because he, like I said, he comes in way later towards the end of the movie. And Johnny Lawrence is just there for, like, honestly, shits and giggles. So, yeah, the vibes in here is all right. Still worth going to see. If you want to wait for it to hit streaming services, that's fine too. So, I'm going to cap it here. We're going to call it. But tune in next time for more Movie Pass movement shenanigans. And make sure you log in and check out all the social media I have on my link tree in the description below. Follow, subscribe, like, share, comment, tell a friend to tell a friend that Nerds in the Hood is back again. All right? So I'm going to catch y'all next time on another edition of Nerds in the Hood. It's your boy Marv signing off. Whoosh. I don't know if I'm doing it with the right hand, but let's do it the other hand, just in case. I'm off this, people. Peace.